You know that friend who aced every exam, graduated top of their class, but somehow keeps making terrible life choices? The brilliant doctor who falls for obvious scams. The genius engineer who can't figure out why their relationships keep failing. The PhD who invests their life savings in cryptocurrency based on a TikTok video. Smart people making spectacularly dumb decisions. I'm Bear, and today I'm going to explain why intelligence doesn't protect you from stupidity, and why being smart might actually make you more vulnerable to certain kinds of mistakes. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Intelligence and wisdom are not the same thing. Intelligence is your ability to process information, solve problems, and learn quickly. Wisdom is knowing when and how to use that intelligence effectively. You can have a brilliant mind and still be terrible at navigating the real world. Think about it this way. Intelligence is like having a powerful sports car. Wisdom is knowing how to drive it safely. Without wisdom, all that mental horsepower can send you careening off the road faster than someone with less raw ability but better judgment. Smart people often fall into what psychologists call the overconfidence bias, but theirs is supercharged. When you're used to being right about complex things, your brain starts assuming you're right about everything. The surgeon who's brilliant in the operating room thinks their political opinions are equally valid. The software engineer who codes elegant solutions believes they can day trade their way to millions. This overconfidence creates dangerous blind spots. Smart people often skip the research phase because they assume they can figure it out as they go. They don't ask for advice because they're used to being the one giving it. That's how you get PhDs who fall for pyramid schemes and lawyers who represent themselves in divorce court. Intelligence can also become a prison. Smart people often know too much for their own good. They can see every possible outcome, every potential problem, every nuance of a situation. While this can be useful, it can also lead to analysis paralysis. Consider dating. An intelligent person might analyze their potential partner like they're solving a complex equation. They'll weigh compatibility factors, long-term prospects, family dynamics, career trajectories. Meanwhile, their heart knows the answer in 5 minutes, but their brain needs 5 months to reach the same conclusion. Sometimes the smartest choice is to trust your gut, but smart people often trust their head even when it's overthinking itself into knots. When you're genuinely expert in one area, it's tempting to think that expertise transfers everywhere. This is called the halo effect. A brilliant physicist assumes they understand economics. A successful businessman thinks they know how to fix education. A talented artist believes their political insights are profound. But expertise is often highly specific. The skills that make you excellent at chess don't automatically make you good at poker. The thinking that makes you a great scientist doesn't necessarily translate to being a great parent. Smart people often fail to recognize the boundaries of their competence. Traditional intelligence measures logical reasoning, but life isn't always logical. People aren't logical. Emotions aren't logical. Smart people sometimes treat human interactions like math problems, looking for the right formula when what's needed is empathy, patience, or simply the ability to sit with uncertainty. This shows up everywhere. The brilliant manager who can't understand why their team seems unmotivated. The gifted student who excels academically but struggles socially. The intellectual who can debate philosophy for hours but can't comfort a friend who's grieving. High IQ doesn't automatically come with high emotional intelligence. Smart people love complex solutions. If you can understand quantum physics, why would you choose the simple answer? This leads to what I call complexity bias. When faced with a problem, intelligent people often gravitate toward sophisticated explanations and elaborate solutions, even when something simple would work better. In relationships, this might mean overanalyzing every interaction instead of just communicating directly. In business, it might mean creating complicated systems when a simple process would suffice. Sometimes the smartest approach is the obvious one, but smart people often can't see it because they're looking for something more intellectually satisfying. Here's where it gets really interesting. Sometimes intelligence actively works against good decision-making. Smart people can rationalize almost anything. They can construct elaborate justifications for choices they want to make anyway. This makes them vulnerable to motivated reasoning, using their intelligence to support predetermined conclusions rather than seeking truth. Consider financial decisions. Studies show that people with higher IQs are more likely to have diverse investment portfolios, which is smart, but they're also more likely to try to time the market, which usually backfires. Their intelligence gives them confidence to make complex trades, but the market doesn't care how smart you are. Or look at relationships. Intelligent people often approach dating like a research project. They analyze compatibility on paper but ignore chemistry. They intellectualize attraction instead of feeling it naturally. So how do you escape? First, recognize that intelligence is a tool, not an identity. You're not your IQ score. Your worth isn't determined by being the smartest person in the room. Second, cultivate intellectual humility. The smartest thing you can say is often, "I don't know," or "I might be wrong." Seek out people who disagree with you. Ask questions instead of giving answers. Third, develop emotional and social intelligence alongside analytical intelligence. Learn to read people, not just data. Practice empathy. Pay attention to how others feel, not just what they think. Fourth, embrace simplicity. Not every problem needs a complex solution. Sometimes, the obvious answer is obvious because it's correct. Intelligence is a gift, but like any gift, it can become a burden if you don't know how to use it wisely. The smartest people I know aren't the ones with the highest IQs. They're the ones who know when to think and when to feel, when to analyze and when to act, when to lead with their head and when to follow their heart. Your intelligence got you this far, but wisdom will take you the rest of the way. And wisdom starts with recognizing that being smart doesn't make you immune to being stupid. In fact, it might make you more vulnerable. But once you see the trap, you can step around it. And that's the smartest move of all.